Cool.
Hola.
Hey guys, welcome in. This is Chio. We're back here with the I Am project. Go ahead, Vanessa. This is my co-host, Vanessa. I'm sorry,
What up, guys? Either way goes Divinely Diamond, Vanessa, whatever you want to call me.
Julio. And then we got. Go ahead, guys. Introduce yourselves.
Hello, I'm Eliza.
Hi, I'm Linda.
Cool. Hi, guys. Welcome in. So today we're gonna have a cool topic. We're gonna talk about pretty much. It's not. This episode is more about. It's not about what you do with the connection. It's mainly about the feeling, right? What a person does, or what it does to a person when we don't process certain feelings. And this is what patience teaches us, right? Which is compassion. What the pain builds of, which is strength, right? And then the hardest part, the perception is real, but trusting it is somewhat hard sometimes because we live in a world that trained us to be considered crazy if we ever even thought about this, right?
Right.
So, with that being said, guys, we're going to dive into the topic of has anyone ever showed up in your head like without a warning? Let's just say it's just there while you were doing dishes. I don't know, you were doing laundry, but you just randomly thought about a person. Have you guys gone through that?
Yeah.
Vanessa,
Oh my.
Yeah, for sure. For
if
sure.
you want to
I would
elaborate on that.
say, yeah, I would say for me, I've experienced certain situations where things would kind of pop up abruptly. And I think in a sense, we all kind of want to have that physical evidence. We thrive off the 3D a little bit because we are in the 3D. And for me, I feel like when we have these abruptions, and then I can even say that they even come in dreams, like a dream, a vision. You could be literally doing something random, and then all of a sudden, that person's face comes up, or like a memory, a song, anything that could relate to that. And we're
Right.
just sitting here wondering why, especially when we're not thinking in that moment about that person, or we're completely out of, contact, anything that has to do with communication, we're completely left out of that. And it's still, are we obsessing over that person, or is it a situation where it's an intuitive download that drops into your head?
What do you guys think? I want to see like
Um,
the. Let me ask. We started with Linda last time. Like, go ahead, Eliza.
Yeah.
Personally, I think it's not necessarily that we get obsessed with the person. I think each circumstance is different, each experience is different, and each structure of the relationship is different. Because sometimes it could be that you do that to twin flame because of signs you're getting confused with the 3D versus your intuition, or vice versa. So I think it could be that it's more like the 3D has put, or society has put, hey, like if it doesn't follow like our monologue of like, like every other love story, every other book, every other movie of what
Yep.
exactly that connection's supposed to look like, then it's not real and it's crazy. So it's like you're battling between what society deems as this is how it's supposed to go versus your intuition and your higher self.
Right. What do you think, Linda?
Um,
Like, how can you tell when you're picking? Like, how can you tell when it's a perception? Like, when somebody comes into your mind, like, what is it? What does it mean to you, or how do you perceive it?
Okay, like if I'm doing just something random and then this person pops into my head and I feel something like I'll feel like a certain feeling,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's a negative feeling or like
Right.
mm,
it's really easy for me to separate, to be like, nope, that's not me. Like I like this, like I wasn't thinking about this person. I am not feeling this about this person. So I know it's not me. And then I just move on and I just try to say, oh well, bless your heart. And then
bless your heart. I think
Bless
that's
your
super
heart.
interesting because why don't we want to focus also, like when that person comes in, the emotion behind it. How is that vision or that person in the vision making you feel in that moment?
I want to say feel like compassion for them because it's not a good feeling. So I just kind of like, oh, well, that sucks. And then bless your heart. And then
Yeah.
Move on.
I think it's
Stay on your
compassion
way.
because not always though, because sometimes, and it has happened with like one of my stepsisters. Well, my stepsister, the only step. And I call her a stepsister because she was the one that made it clear. Anywho, and it happens like it's happened only a few times where like I'll think of her, like I'm not even thinking about her, but she'll like pop in my head and then I feel like some kind of like missing and I feel it and I know it's her. And I tell her, well, bless your heart, but no way, man, not her. So I guess it depends on the person or situation or the peace you have with the person, which
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm pretty much at peace with everyone because I'm at peace with myself. When it comes to her, I just like talking shit.
Right. You know, it's funny that you guys mentioned that because technically like what you guys are experiencing. Have you had that before, Vanessa?
I've had situations like that. Yeah. Even when it comes down to my mom as well. Like sometimes she'll literally call me out of nowhere and she'll bring up something that I was thinking of in that moment. I think personally, like when this happens to people, to certain people, um, there was some sort of connection. There was well, in that case, it's my mom. We're connected. I don't know if you guys ever heard of a heart. Dang, I don't know the whole name of it, but it's like a heart string theory or something like that. And
The
you
string theory, right?
carry like a certain string. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Like you just have that string that's attached. And I think that's what it is. It's almost like a telepathic, what is it? Like a telephone or something. One person has one end and then the other one is like on the other. And when you look into energetic pools, you can be literally like in that one, like you could be here and the person can be on the other side of the world. You can still feel that connection, that shared thought. You're communicating telepathic. Especially since I've gotten more sensitive with everything spiritually. And I feel like my veil is thinning by the day. So I'm going to hear or feel something from somebody, especially if I like feel something for them.
Right.
So
And
yeah.
that makes sense. Like I love that because it makes sense, like a lot of times we end up being a little bit skeptical about our own beliefs because we're pretty much taught that our feelings have to be validated externally, right? They have to be recognized somewhere else.
Right.
So, in that sense, it's kind of like how could I explain it? There's a research for this actually. There is a man called Emilio Ferrer, and he is part of the UC Davis. He's a team member at UC Davis. There's this research that says that couples that sat facing each other kind of like goes with your heart theory, right? Because couples that sat facing each other, their heart rates and their breathings ended up syncing, right? It's like two scrambled pairs end up becoming one.
Mm.
So the attunement itself is real, like how you say that you end up being connected to these people when you don't even know it. Because we also have Eliska Koskava. She discovered back in late in 2021, she found that the traction on blind dates shows up as a heart rate and a skin syncing the physical click. But then you also have Klaus Conrad, who has apophenia, is a term that he names, which is a flipping of it. The mind is inventing a pattern where there's none. You see what I mean?
Mm.
And then you also have
Yep.
Bernard Bateman. He studies exactly the line between both attunements and the projection itself. So is it mainly that you trust the feeling more or less, or is it that it's like a little bit in between, between both of them?
Everyone starts to go off the feeling, like what it makes you feel. But
What
like I
about you,
said,
girl?
sometimes it's hard to do that when you're in the physical. Well, for some people.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's because we're so densely in the 3D that we get caught up in daily life. We get caught up in the vibrations of us around us. And with that being said, I think when we kind of tap into like the ego side of things, maybe it's like we want that evidence. We want that physical evidence. Like I need to see the physical to prove what's happening up here in the mind's eye. If you're not someone who practices stuff like that, like meditation or where you try to connect with all 7 chakras and something's out of balance, then yeah, it's gonna be hard to what is it? Focus on that intuition side of things.
Right. And that makes sense. What do you guys think?
I agree. I think you have to be in tune with yourself in order to one be comfortable in what you believe in. And also I think once you fully are comfortable with yourself and fully in tune with yourself to the point where you have those moments of silence, even with meditation, even with any type of shadow work, I think will help you not only discover yourself, but also trust yourself without needing that validation of outside, without needing well, of course, like that validation and also the kind of like I guess it would also like the confirmation of, hey, like you're not crazy, but it's like, who said this was crazy to begin with? So
Mm. I like that.
What do you think, Linda?
Well, I don't know, but I wanted to bring up something that I thought was weird from the past, I guess. And it has to do with Rocio. We would never talk or anything, and I would like randomly like I would think about her a lot. And sometimes, because sometimes I can hear people's thoughts. It doesn't happen all the time, but it's very random. And but when I do hear it, it's loud. And so sometimes when she would come into my mind, I would hear like certain thoughts, and then I remember I asked or I told her about it like when we finally talked, and she was like, "I did say those things. I did think that because like this and this," and I'm like, "That's like all I would hear," and like I don't
That's
know.
crazy. Do you
100%.
ever
I have
think
to.
that you're hearing that, like, in real time? Like, she was saying that in real time?
I don't know, like maybe because it was
There was a lot of things that were connecting it. Like I knew about her whole life before I even knew, like before I even talked to her, you know? And it was like, I
we
wasn't
always
like,
lived close to each other.
yeah, like about a
Like
mile, 2 miles.
in every city
But
was
we
like
never,
two.
in reality, right? We never really, like, I
Like
guess
there
you
was
could
no
say,
more than like a sentence or a few words ever.
yeah, like we had met once and that was it when her daughter was like 17. I mean, sorry, when
She
her
was
daughter
not
was like 1.
17.
Yeah, my bad. Her daughter was like 1 and it was kind of like, oh shit, you know? I don't know, it was weird. It was weird.
And then from then we were just always around each other. We never.
We were in the same areas, we had the same friends, but we just never talked, you know?
It's crazy.
because it's kind of like the string theory, but also like telepathy, and then I think that's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
That is-
personally for me, I don't know about y'all, but I feel like everything that we are doing is mainly because we doubt ourselves because people make us doubt us. You know? Like people make us society, you guys just said it right now. Like you don't want to be called crazy, you don't want to be called a certain thing. And it's like, are you crazy? Because here's what I want to understand. Because I've always been a person that has had to prove my truth in any way, shape, or form, you know?
Mhm.
By getting like an actual physical proof. So my thing is, what do you think that it's because you needed that external validation or because you were giving all these images of what love and what this like unity was supposed to be like rather than what you were supposed to do, which is like trust your feeling more? Or like who told you what love was supposed to look like? Like there's usually like like I used to be a hopeless romantic and I used to think like love is sacrifice. The more you hurt, the more that you're showing this person that you love them, right? Because you're willing to bleed for them, right? So it's like, okay, but who said that? Because whenever you think about it, it's like, okay, if love is supposed to hurt, no. If love is supposed to hurt, then why is it that this person is not responding, you know, to my hurting? Because that's kind of like what ends you or what sends you in in like a little,
Mm,
I guess, like a loop or like a little wormhole. What do you guys think?
yeah.
I was just glad, or not glad, but I was sorry. I was just like happy that someone was like, well, how it was referred to putting up with me. So I just tried to stay out of the way and just do what I was told. And that was my idea because it was like, I'm keeping you, but you gotta earn it.
I want to add to that. I think like what Linda said is really true, and I think those ideas come from like the structure that society created in regards of like religion. Literally, if you look around anything, like a work environment as well, like you do what you're told, you're quiet, and you'll get the bare minimum. And it's like that for not just like relationship wise, for everything. So it's like, of course, we feel that way when it's being shown on TV, when it's being shown on like even family wise, like even family structures, you can see that and you'll learn from that everything from your environment. We're all products of
Exactly.
the same similar environment, I would say.
Yeah, yeah. I think in a sense too, I think because we focus so much on what we want out of it, what we need to have, it almost like for me, I had to look at it like, well, what about that person? What are they going through? It's not just about me. And when I had to kind of, it was almost like I had to do what I always do, like be the observer of the observant mind. I do that in any situation. And I have to kind of look at it from the outside. Okay, yes, I need this. I need to prove these feelings and these thoughts that I keep having abruptly. But then I start feeling like I'm being selfish by wanting that in a way. Like I'm being like too much like, I need this, I need this, I need this. And that's just annoying. What about giving that person some room to breathe? So that's what I do. And you have to accept that things are not on your time. That's what I'm learning right now.
Right.
But I'd rather would have it in a sense of having it, what is it? I guess in God's timing, like I would rather it be divine timing than me forcing because I just need to have that answer right then and there. It would be more so I want the connection to grow in all aspects before it can even be like a physical thing.
Exactly. That makes sense. That definitely makes sense, because from my personal experience, I realized that we end up doubting ourselves, because
Right.
you have pretty much we have the idea itself that what we're running from, it's not even the feeling because of we're just scared to be judged, because you have like the ghosting type of thing. It becomes like when somebody can't admit the separation phase, right? And it's a red flag that gets a sacred title pretty much. And it's something
Yeah.
that you wait for, you don't really leave, right? You also have like the mirror, which is a reflection of yourself so that you can heal your issues, right?
Right. Yep. Yep.
And what does people say that you're just a low vibe resisting the lesson, right? But in reality, it's just a feeling that you're not allowed to process based on the eyes of others. And then whenever you're saying the true thing, it says, well, you know what? Like I get you, but I did it too, Friction is proof, right? Because that's
Mhm.
what it means, we went through all these situations and here we are now, right? And it's like, is it really what we're doing, Because it doesn't seem like it's something that you're doing that's healthy, And
Right.
and then we have like the thing that you have the addictive patterns. Like in reality, guys, like for me, it's just the angle that you see it, but but everything is the same. It's the same thing in different ways, right? Because one of them is making, or one of them is actually acknowledging that the sacrifice is okay, that the humiliation is fine, and then another one is saying, well, is it something that you really are feeling, or are you just imagining? So
How do
when
we know?
exactly, like when is this connection, or when is this pain the lesson, or when is it the information, like, and who gets taught which one goes first, because that's kind of what we end up in. We end up thinking like, okay, well, because people said I'm supposed to feel this way, then that's the only way I'm allowed to feel. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's true because you can go to therapy your whole life and you can either get the perception of okay, I need to process my feelings. But then there's also a person that goes to therapy their whole life. And then it's like, I'm supposed to live this way. So I don't truly process my feelings because I'm not living properly.
Right.
So what's,
The I don't know. I feel like in a way it's kind of like maybe it depends on the sessions, but you don't want to have that person coddle you or tell you, hey, like you have to do it this way, another way of programming. Cause I've dealt with therapists like that when I was younger.
Mhm.
When my parents, I think they were divorcing at like, I was like 12 and they had me go through these counseling sessions that their job offered. But that's another thing. Like it's some person. And I have to say, if someone wants to go through therapy, just make sure that that person matches your persona, maybe like someone who's a little bit more connected to you, because you're going to get those therapists that are going to try and tell you to do things a certain way. And that's the only way, kind of like
Mm.
religion.
like, we don't want to talk about Bruno, but kind of like Bruno.
This is what you do to avoid doing
Yeah.
How was it for you
We don't
guys?
need a Bruno.
Yeah. That's what we're trying to run from, right? Or get away from or change.
that.
Yeah.
And then you also have like and I get where you're coming from because, for example, right? We have that show Escaping Twin Flames or something like that, where you end up having society profit from your pain. And they end up
Right.
idealizing it and making it like, you see, this person, it gives you another excuse, right? But what is
Yes.
the most like what science ends up teaching us is that the compulsive behavior itself, it comes from a variable ratio, which is unpredictable, right? It's kind of like the slot machines where they're hot and then they're cold, right? And then you also have Carnes, who is another psychologist that he pretty much looked into the attachment forms and what cycles of hurt and what types of relief of trauma bonding, like what type of bond grows through that pain despite of it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So think about it. What is the one thing that you felt so strongly, but you had to quiet down? Like, for example, we're talking about twin flames, right? How you have this strong connection with somebody that you don't even know. You've never said anything to a person, let's say, for example, like Linda and I, we never said a word to each other, but I knew about her whole life. I knew when things were right, I knew when things were wrong, but you just have like
And
these
I knew
memories.
the same about her.
Have you
Everything.
had something
Yeah.
similar, Liza?
To a certain degree, I do. I do have a twin flame. They're just not, how do I explain this? They're just not in this certain timeline, this certain dimension. But the thing that confused me at first was because it's backwards. It's like, oh, I thought it was all like me clutching into something because I was upset. But then it's like, no, it's been there all along. Like, if you think about it, like, this has been your mirror. Like, once I knew that, like, his reflection was mine and mine was his, it gave me peace in a way. And just like other factors of like the astral projecting of him basically, like, to me, it was like, hey, like, I'm not here. Like, you have to learn certain lessons in this era, in this time that
Hmm.
I cannot be here for, but like it's okay. Like you just have to like kind of accept the fact and but not in a harsh way, you know? It's like you kind of have to get to this place without me because it's like you're codependent. You like your whole life you've been thinking of like someone to rescue you even though you don't know what you're even running from. And it's like just to figure
That's
out
usually
myself.
that's usually, I think, like a twin flame dynamic. It's like being well, you have to go through self growth, but even when you guys are in union, you still have to have that self. Like for me, I've been seeing 1-1 a lot. And I've asked Spirit, is it 11 you're showing me? Is it 11-11? Is it 11-1? And Spirit keeps telling me one. It's one. It's literally one. And then I have the other one, which is obviously 11, but Spirit swears up and down it's not 11. It's mirroring, it's doubling, and you have to be one whole. It's crazy when I'm doing that. You have to be like one whole together, if that makes sense. Like you guys can come together, but still be whole and be a union. Yeah, if that makes sense.
I think 100% because it's like the biggest part of myself. It's like I'm so easy to lose myself easily. And I think the thing I like have to, well, I'm still, because nobody's 100% perfect. And it's building that foundation for myself because multiple times nobody's going to rescue you. And it's like you said, like I need to be my whole self so we can be whole together with his whole self.
Right.
But it's also, I would say, it was kind of sad at first, but it's just comfort because it's like, okay, like, not that it's my motivation to continue with with this path,
Mm.
but like just at all, like, build a better me with or without, because sometimes you can be a twin flame and not end up together at all.
Yeah,
In
I've
this
seen
energy,
that.
at least.
I think that the twin flame, what it is gonna be literally the other side of you, the one side that you're missing. Like, let's say, for example, you have people that are very compassionate, very caring, very nurturing, and then you have people that are not. And then you also have people that, let's say, are normally easy to get exhausted, right? Or they are not somebody that likes to go out as much. But then you have the person that does. So it's a balance of both, if it makes sense.
Yep.
Where it's a balance of both. It's a balance of both where you have to be 100% yourself. Like, accepting certain things is doesn't always have to mean something bad. It could just be the fact that you need to understand that if you end up needing somebody to complete you, you are never going to be happy. Why? Because what are you
Right.
going to do when you're by yourself? For example, you have what society has mainly taught us is that longing itself is romantic, right? The
Yes.
noble, or like, it's the main thing. Like, people are trained to prefer the safe fantasy over the risky real conversation, right? Why do
Yeah.
most couples end up breaking up? Because of the lack of communication, misunderstanding, and it's just words that were not said. So think about it. We have this thing where you're like already thinking, could it be this? Because in reality, the pain that we feel is the idea of a fantasy or an idea that we had, it not being true, right? We have all
Yeah.
these consciousness is something that can't be really tested. It's something that cannot be measured. So
Yeah.
it's not applicable in science, right? We were talking about the Carl Jung theories last time on TikTok, and it's like all of these psychological theories, they can't be tested or accepted by like, some of these can be tested or accepted by science because it changes based on what the experience itself is, right? So you have a rule book that is pretty much saying that the true thing out there is to suffer and to just give up yourself. But then you also have these other signs that says, no, you got to choose yourself. You have to take care of yourself before you can take care of others. But that's why I always want to question, like, my main and always underlying question is, I'll accept you as you are, but as long as you know that it's from your experience.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to have their own, you have to go through some sort of pain to make you really want to not be in that same loop, because we're comfortable in it. We don't want to experience the reality that it's our fault. I mean, that's how I saw it in my experience. I didn't want to I blamed everybody else but myself.
Yeah.
So, and then when I ended up having this connection, it's like, damn, this is how I am. It's looking at yourself in the mirror and then trying
Self
to navigate
reflection.
through it. Yeah, then that's really what we are. Every person that, I mean, in my perspective, I don't know about you guys, but in my perspective, we end up dating the people that reflect some sort of us, some sort of part of us. And then when that expiration time comes, it's because you start to notice the traits that you have, because you're attracted
Yeah.
to yourself technically. It's a mirror of you, right? But it's the dark and the white. That's why, for example, religion. I've been very drawn to Lucifer. And it's, if you really think about it, why was Lucifer condemned? Why was he kicked out of heaven? Because he questioned, not because he was saying I'm more than God. I mean, maybe that's the story that they told us, but you know what? From my experience, I feel like Lucifer is just the human emotions that take over and that make you do the unthinkable.
You know what I heard about that through a tarot reader?
Hmm.
They did a reading on heaven and hell. They were trying to prove the theory if that was real or not. And what he said he saw was it's an energy, some type of an incubus type of energy. And it's an energy of where you come in, say like you die, whatever, you die, and then you come in, they think you're gonna either see Jesus at the end of the tunnel or you're gonna meet the devil, whoever. And he says that what happens is this energy takes that soul and puts them into some sort of like incubation room, like a holding space. And then they make them feel all the emotions that they made others feel on earth, like like whatever, negative. It's almost like a lesson of you need to feel. And he got the perception of it being that's us facing ourselves, mirroring ourselves. That incubus is showing us this is how it is. Like, this is how are you projecting that? How are you,
Yes.
it's almost like a lesson, I guess.
I
Crazy. I was like, wow.
I love that because I always talk about how this whole experience made me see the true meaning of treat others how you want to be treated. Why?
Yes,
Because you see in yourself every single time in a different reality. That's how I see the world. What do you guys think? Because you guys are too quiet here.
I agree.
I was just like, I'm being mind blown right now. Like, I'm seeing a new perspective.
Processing.
I mean, it's more like confirmation, especially
This
with,
is something you guys are going through?
I
Oh,
think,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
think in some degree, one way or another, the lesson does always come back to that. What was I gonna say about the first part? The first part, what was it? I'm trying to remember.
I'm
Uh,
sorry for interrupting you. Like, we were talking about how is it that like seeing each other as a mirror, like like facing yourself and making other people experience things. I love that you're doing the pendulum and like I'm over here shuffling cards.
I would
Hold
say
on a minute.
like with the mirroring part, as much as we don't want to admit it, and we probably won't until we genuinely like stop being ashamed of ourselves and using that shame to better ourselves and like to push through. You're not going to admit that you are right. Like what you're basically attracted to yourself. As much as I don't want to admit it, my past toxic relationship, I would have to say, yeah, that was a mirror of myself. Like I acted that same irrational way, maybe not as an adult or as a late teen, early adult when I met him, but like definitely at 14 years old, exactly the same. And it's like you don't want to admit that stuff, but it's true.
You ever
What do you
notice that
think?
twin flames are like like they've been going for years? It's not like I don't know. I don't know how to
It
explain
reminds
it.
me
Like,
it reminds me of the movie Hancock. I always get
yeah,
back to that.
Yes, 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 yes,
that's
yes.
what it reminds me
And
of.
I believe it because all of a sudden I feel like I'm getting old, and that's never happened to me before.
Really.
Yes.
I'm kidding, no.
What? Because what was the whole
I was
concept
like,
of Hancock, right? Hancock has like his other half, and then they start to lose powers the second that they find each other, right? So this chick is like, nah,
huh.
bro, we need a. She's over here trying to knock him out every single time that they're about to grow old. She's like, I'm at
That
the
would be
age that I can say. But look, right now that you were talking about that, Liza, I pulled out some cards and I have here the Knight of Wands, Judgment, and the Two of Coins, right? The Knight of Wands is going to represent my tarot is mainly on Titans. So we have Hercules. And Hercules, what is the story of Hercules? He was pretty much like the step kid that the stepmother didn't want. He had to keep proving himself to what was her name? Amphi- Amphitrite? Amphitrite? Zeus's wife. Let me look her up because I know I'm pronouncing this wrong. Amphitrite? Amphitrite?
And
I don't know her name, man. I'm all sabotaging this hard. He was the victim of his of Hera's. I'm sorry, Hera was jealous of him. So what did she do? She
Yes.
made him go through all these tests to prove himself, right? And it was until the one that he was like, okay, this one it may set me free or it may not. Until then, he was able to earn his place as a demigod, right? So Hercules technically represents action and adventure, fearlessness, risk taking, right? Which is the same thing as it is to what does it feel or what is it the one thing that you felt so strongly but you never said out loud? It's taking the risk of expressing your emotions out loud.
mm, mm.
I would have to say this because I've never really told anyone about this. I told one person about the astral projecting, and they're all like, "Oh, you're just having like sexual psychosis," and I was like, okay. I was like,
The
okay, girl.
demon.
Yeah, literally. I was like, oh, okay.
That is funny. That's kind of funny in a way. That's totally reasonable. That's probably what you were doing, Ashley.
No, and honestly, not okay. I'm not gonna lie. Like maybe a couple of dreams were a little, or astral projects were a little frisky. Maybe two out of like six, but they actually did
Maybe
have.
2 out of 3.
Nah.
Well, look, the second one is Athena, right? And she is the goddess of wisdom, battle, strategy, and reason, guys. Which means you gotta have a little bit of rain before you get your little bit of sunshine, right? She could be
Okay.
swift with her judgment and harsh in retribution, but her treatment of Medusa is pretty much an example, right? And what does all this means? Well, it just means that you're going to find yourself being one of the people that is doing the judging, but you got to forgive past mistakes and talk through feelings without proportioning or without putting any blame in anybody else. Because what does that give?
Without projecting. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, why do you have to have a right and a wrong? Conversation should answer, I'm always 100% loyal to this.
Right.
3 questions
Right.
about yourself, about the other person, or a situation. It shouldn't be right or wrong. Like, we're
Hmm.
all having a conversation right now and different experiences, different backgrounds, but at the same, different terminology. And at the end, it means the same thing. And then I love this one. This is a Sanias. He is the 2 of coins, which is, you guys see that he's clouded? His eyes are like clouded. He's like,
Oh
what am I
yeah.
doing?
I can't
So the
see.
2 of coins, what does that mean? Let's see. And I
Like
think
you're
you guys should,
blindfolded. Well, that's what my girl be saying.
it means adaptability. Be like water, right? You have to remind yourself that you need to stay flexible and adaptable in order to flow like water and understand that every single thing that you go through, good or bad, is always going to lead you to the thing that you need to give attention to. So stay
I
balanced,
love
right?
that.
So
Stay
it's pretty much,
balanced.
yeah, so it's pretty much, and Bruce Lee uses that a lot, you know, like flow like, be like water, which is be adaptable and not rigid. And that's pretty much what it is. We are so, like, okay, so what do you get? Let me ask you, Vanessa, do you like chocolate ice cream?
Sometimes, yes.
What's your favorite ice cream?
Dang. A Butterfinger Blizzard from Dairy
Yeah, she had
Queen.
to think about it. What about you, Liza?
Specifically, cotton candy ice cream from Cold Stone, because I have a taste buds of like a 3-year-old.
What
Same.
about you, Linda? Chocolate? You see, I don't like any of those flavors. But does that mean we can't be friends? No.
Hmm.
Am I gonna lose, like, she's like, yes, I like cookies and cream.
I
Vanessa
was
was
gonna say
kidding.
that. I don't know. I
But
gotta
it's
be in the
like,
mood.
yeah, well, no, ice cream is like for dinner for us, you know, you gotta be dinner,
It's
like
like ice
dinner.
cream before bed.
Yeah, it hits the
Yum.
spot, TBH. But you see, you guys, like, we've all had people that have passed, and I can tell you that in my experience, maybe it wasn't a twin flame that passed, but when before I met Linda, there was many things that I knew about her, and it's crazy because, like she said, a word that would pop up in her mind or a song that she had in a certain time frame, like. I remember when we first hung out, she played a song that was on repeat. It was like my top song for that month. And I was like, "What?" And then she puts her second favorite song and it was exactly the same one that, and mind you, we had not discussed about any of this. So it's like, and we're
It
very
was
alike.
like our
Aw.
second time hanging out.
Yeah, so, and it's,
Mm,
but I also have to accept, you know, maybe Linda, you see, we have to accept that people are nobody's to hold.
Exactly.
Linda has to accept the fact that we may have different paths. Maybe I'm supposed to teach Linda something about herself or vice versa. Everything has a flip side. It can sound beautiful, it could also sound horrible, but you're not going to know what needs attention if you're always thinking about yesterday and tomorrow.
I love that.
You know, like
Yeah.
somebody told me, do you guys ever have those weeks that you don't remember?
Yes. I have those days.
no, just that it went by fast, yeah. And it felt
She's
like
like, no, I
one whole
remember
day.
everything.
I actually have a really
I
good
lose
memory.
date and times all the time.
So
Yeah.
you guys see how we lose our sense of reality because we're so busy making sure that we meet expectations around us.
I lose
Mm.
it because I have DI.
She's like, whose hands are these?
So I don't know who was there at that time. Don't ask me for the date. Ask her.
But I want to get like before anything, you know, like this whole twin flame, you know,
Yes,
it's a
I
terminology.
also. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No,
We haven't talked
well,
much. Go ahead.
I was gonna mention that also a lot of people confuse it. They they think twin flame, so they think um like if they're in a relationship, they see someone, you know, um showing like a bad habit or just, bad behavior. And this person is like, oh, but that's my twin flame because we are opposites. So I have to I have to like fix that part or something like that. And they confuse that because it's like, no, like that's just a POS. Like, no, you need to understand that you are, that it's a mirror. It's not just an opposite. Like, it's a mirror, and it's kind of how you know, like, what you need to work on. And like, if there's conflict, but there's also like the positive, like, if there's conflict, but then there's growth, like, I think that's when, like, you can tell the difference. But if it's always like bad, 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 bad,
Yeah.
and you're stuck on that, no, but it's this person, and just romanticizing, like,
Yeah.
The drama,
so I
right?
think people confuse that a lot. So
Yes.
like, I love being alone. Like, I love my alone time. So, and I really, I don't see anyone. This is like the most socializing I've done since last week,
Since our last video.
Same.
since our last meeting. So,
And the sun is so hot too.
so it's like, I'm okay, absolutely okay with being by myself. Like, I can
Yeah.
romanticize that shit. And I also, I also like that, like, Rocio is like I get to share that alone time with her. It's like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, she can be her and I can be me, but
Yeah.
it's like I'm just letting you in
My
my space,
space.
and
Like
vice
you're
versa. She's
physically
letting me in
there.
her space.
You guys can like hang out in a room and not it be awkward, like, or have to feel like you have to say something
We
to
can be on our
fill in dead air.
No, we'll be on our
Yeah.
phones, like doom scrolling, watching Family Guy for like ever, and then we'll be like, "Do you want some ice cream?"
That's
And that
hilarious.
would be like the first
That's how you know it's
conversation,
real.
like, in forever.
Yeah, it's funny.
But then
But
we also have times when, like, when we don't shut up, or we're just like laughing and like just at everything. And then we
it's
can go
Yeah.
from like that to like just complete silence.
Just
I
perfect balance.
what do you
Yeah,
guys feel
perfectly balanced.
like social media has to do with this?
Oof.
Too much.
TikTok.
Mhm.
TikTok. I love TikTok, but that's horrible because it's like I feel like there's so many false preachers are that are under the like, oh, like, don't give up, like, love is always like, like, you guys are meant to each other. Like, it's more, they, like Linda said, like, they romanticize like codependency and toxicity with the challenges of like a twin flame. And I'm like, no, like, so I would even say Facebook because, like, you see a couple, you just see their picture and you see, like, let's just say, like, my love brought me flowers, this and that. And it's like, oh my God, I need flowers and I need, like, some other materialistic thing. But then it's like, you don't really see what goes on beyond that relationship. And it's like, that's what like, you get this idea of, like, what's the perfect relationship.
'Cause
100%.
cause I am still questioning if I'm in a twin flame journey. I think I am. I feel like I am with somebody. It has to be like Instagram for me. Like I'll be on Instagram and I'll get all of these different type of like I just recently saw that you can go on reels and like see your friends' reels and shit. So I was like, okay, people are seeing what I'm liking. But I was kind
No,
of like in a rabbit hole of liking like all that. And then for a minute, I kind of felt like it was feeding my delusions a little bit. I was like, I feel like I have to pull back from social media a lot. For me personally, I have to have breaks from social media. I don't announce them. I just stay off for whenever I feel like the time is right. But it's the doom scrolling for me. Like I have to catch myself from doing that because it ends up being a situation where like I'll get in that habit of everyday doom scrolling and it's just feeding my delusions. And then that's where I'm left questioning even more. And like Liza, I've experienced astral projection in these dreams as well. And these dreams are very, very real. They're very vivid. I pay attention to the energy around it with this person, and it's like for me, it's like heaven. It's but then I think this person is like heaven. Like I think all these things, so I can't tell. I can't distinguish if it's just my delusions are being fed or this is really something that is in store for me in this person, but it's just about like that divine timing, I guess.
can I ask you all a question? Based on like your experience or and stuff like that, like, would you say that your twin flame had to feel like someone equal to you, or did it just have to feel like a mirror? Or
It's hard because me and this person don't communicate as much as I would like, but it's not up to me. But just based off what I feel, what I kind of see, like what I observe from the side, I feel like this person is more of a mirror. It's weird. It's like he'll I don't even know how to explain it. Like it's like we meet each other where we're at. That's how I feel. But, I'm always feeding my delusions. I don't know fully. So it's hard for me to sit here and really just be like, ugh, like I feel like me and this person, I don't know where he's at. But I feel like when I see him or when I feel, it's like we're right there. Like we meet each other right there.
So like a
Good and
little
bad
mix of
feeling.
both.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't think this person's toxic either. I think we match the level of that. I'm like past the toxic shit. Like, I
Yeah.
don't have time for that. And I'm honestly, I just learned something about Aquariuses. I'm an Aquarius. That it is so true. We can't sit here and date people just regularly. Like you just date somebody, and because we're like analytical thinkers, we think too much. Like it's something, a situation where like it has to be like, oh, this person's in my life, we're in theirs, but we're just going about each other's own lives, and then boom, like shit, there might be something here, and that's how this connection is with that person. And I don't know. It's the only person I want.
Maybe it's still something that needs to be processed. I see it because it's kind of like Linda and I are meeting, like we were always literally, I was dating somebody that she worked with and I saw her walk out the house and like throw a trash. Like I would see her in different places. Apparently I met her a second time later on in life and I don't remember. But
Yeah.
Have you
had
And
had
even
I met her back
like when
then,
she and saying I was not I was a big ghoster, so I would have just like
I
ghosted.
was a big party person. What?
Oh, and that too. I was an alcoholic.
Yeah,
No, I was gonna
I
say,
was a
oh,
hoe.
like when Rocio sent me a message, like it's really hard for me to respond to messages because they just scare me. So like the same thing with phone
She's like,
calls,
the
but
door.
but when
weirdly I'm
she
the same way. It's okay.
when she messaged me,
It's
like
the
I saw her
culture.
message and it felt like, oh, like finally, like I don't know how to explain it. It felt like
It's
finally,
like,
and I just
like,
responded
girl,
right
you were
back.
taking your damn time. I
And
was over
then
here comiendo moscas.
and then when she came when she went to my house, like I don't know, it just felt like it wasn't in that mentality, but the comfort was there. I don't know.
She felt like home.
Yeah, it was like so easy to talk.
I was like, look at me.
So it
Look
was
at
like
That's
me.
the
Oh shit,
that's
what
the
part is
face I
that?
made. Look at
comfort.
that. But it's pretty much a communication breakdown, right? Because what can that create sometimes? Ironically,
Oh,
this came out conflict, jealousy, envy, communication
Pickle.
breakdown, right? Because
Oh
whenever
boy.
you are somebody that has similar traits to somebody else, you got to be able to lift each other up, right? You got to be able to
Yeah.
achieve your goals together. It's not just about, you're going to, let's say, for example, and this is what this card says, like, you may have received public acknowledgement for your accomplishments. Nike's presence is very positive for work and career. This is Celis. Celis is the god. He's the infernal. He's the, no, this is actually, sorry. That was the Five of Wands.
She's a phone
She's a phony. No, Celis was the son of the infernal river
sender.
Styx and a brother to the goddess of victory, Nike, the god of strength, Kratos, and the goddess of force, Bia. Diarrhea, Bia, breath so stink. Nah, and guys,
That's my
don't
song. I gotta
forget,
go lie.
Celis was a winged enforcer of Zeus's court, so he was actually the god of rivalry and envy, presence of warning and conflicts. Being in a middle competition with each other or with others, rather than
Yeah.
working towards a common goal, is going to create tension all the time, guys.
Yep. Yep.
And it's
Don't
like
try to compete with your partner.
humans are nothing but emotional creatures. The whole purpose here is not to get the material things, but it is to gain wisdom from the times that you fall, right?
Yep.
It just broke.
No way. Hey, that's
Then
crazy because you know what that
What?
means? It did its work.
Here's the
It did its
is that what that
work.
means?
Well, it's protection, isn't it?
Spirit stick.
That was another purpose for it. She's like, yes.
every time I get something, like it's fucking break. My necklace is always fucking split.
They're just going to hate because they can't imitate. You
I'm
know
just
what,
gonna
guys?
change.
But yeah. But I think that twin flames, whether the person is here or not, is a thing because we're all vibrations, frequencies, and energy, right? We're more than our physical body. But we live in a world where acceptance is more important than what you feel and what you truly think. So we need to retrain our bodies because sometimes we confuse our excitement with fear or our fear with excitement. And technically what that is, I mean, it's literally there's research about it where adrenaline can sometimes be mistaken with excitement or fear, you know?
Oh, can I say something?
Yeah.
So, and it took a very long time to not figure it out, but to be able to separate the two. So there's there's this way to distinguish whether it's intuition or anxiety.
Mhm. The
So
lovers.
for me
Mm.
to separate intuition and anxiety, like, you know, if you have a thought and you're like, oh, like, I don't know if, like, I'm just like overthinking or making myself think that way, or if it's like my intuition. So if you feel it in your chest, it's anxiety. If you feel it in your stomach, it's intuition. And sometimes because you're like, but I can feel both, you have to stop and breathe and then figure out where you're really feeling.
Can I just say something really quick? Because Linda said gut instincts, right? And as she was talking, I pulled an oracle for my thing, my situation. Tell me why look, I'm going to show you the cards. The first one's communication, right? Then we have the throat chakra card that screams communication. We have family and home card. This is where it gets weird.
I got the
The
lovers, girl.
mind, I know, that's why when I was pulling, I saw that. The mind, and then look at the bottom, bro.
What does it say?
It literally gut instincts.
Gut instinct. Yeah.
That's
Consciousness.
the bottom of the deck or the top, whatever. That I just pulled from my dynamic, and that's what it
Oh,
said.
shoot. But
So
yeah,
pretty much
anxiety, into
so pretty
Yeah,
much what your deck means or what your pull was that once you go with your intuition and you speak up your truth, right?
yeah,
Then here's Lita.
yeah.
And I had the lovers card because you and I had a conversation earlier. And you know what this means? Partnership, communication, unity, romanticism, all those things. It means when you love yourself, you can love others, but you also have to love yourself first. Let
It
that be.
starts with you,
It really does because let me tell you guys, how are you going to know how you want somebody to love you if you don't allow yourself to have boundaries, even with just yourself? Right now is like the
right?
time, literally says here, now is the time to choose love both for others, for yourself, because that's how we learn compassion when you start looking at yourself and everybody else. That's literally what The Egg by Alan Weir teaches us. That we are all the same soul. And I'm sorry guys, but if you guys think Jesus Christ is gonna come down and save us, he's not. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ is literally us four here right now. Guys, we have never met each other. It was all energy.
yep.
we have just not in this specific.
Yeah. It's just a
We
recognition
met
of
each
your
other in
soul.
a past life.
Hmm.
You know what, bro? Exactly. Soul recognition. Past,
You
right
just
when we
said
said
that.
that, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Let
That's
that
crazy.
clock it
And you know
in.
what?
Different
You know
dynamic.
what's funny? Because when Chio first commented, like when first connected, she commented on my Christ consciousness post, bro. And that was a viral post. The amount of the comments I had in the section, how is it that her comment stood out to me and she was the only one that I said, we should make a collab. We should collab together. That
And
was
how
the
was I,
only,
Linda?
I'm telling you. Yeah.
Linda.
Yeah. You listen to your gut instinct.
And see what
Search
happens.
for purpose. Five of Cups. Daydreaming, indecision. You must ensure that you are remaining realistic in your dreams and facing realities of your current situation and not becoming overwhelmed by the many opportunities in front of you.